take out my menu. Because we get to take home a menu when you go to Avenues. Now let me just say that Avenues, it's not a cheap restaurant, but if you have a nice occasion, or you just really want to splurge, and you're sick of just spending $5 for your Friday night entertainment, definitely go to Avenues. You signed my menu, and you wrote, "It's all about grace."
Correct.
I mean, I think so. It could have been all about grapes.
Yeah.
Your writing's kind of messy. But
You're right.
what is that? Do you sign that for everybody, or was that just for me?
I signed that for about 90% of the people.
Why didn't I get one of the other 10?
You're not special.
No.
I mean, I signed that because it gives a meaning to the future for me and what the cuisine is all about. It's about graceful technique. It's about graceful, intelligent ingredients.
What does graceful, intelligent ingredients mean to you? Does that mean it's got to be local? Does that mean it has to be sustainable, or is it something different?
It's special. It's we spend a lot of time sourcing out ingredients from small farms surrounding the Chicago area and the surrounding state of Illinois. So it's special for us to obtain some of those really fine ingredients that, we spend a little bit more money on it, but the end result is a higher end cuisine.
Well, I obviously the food was spectacular, but I believe that if you were cooking me a meal using canned vegetables and canned beans from Jewel, it would still taste great. I
Sure.
mean, how much?
Sure.
How much does? I mean, I understand that good ingredients, and when I use good ingredients, it matters.
Yes.
But how much do ingredients? Isn't it the technique and the foods that you're creating and what you're putting together, not the actual ingredients?
No, absolutely. It has to start with the ingredients. Number one priority in the kitchen is ingredients. And as a chef, you want to search out the best ingredient possible. We have a lady in Michigan that grows fennel for us. She puts aside an acre of land for us and grows fennel for us. And we let her...
Is that why you have a dish that has like fennel in every single possible incarnation?
Every step of the growth of the fennel, we celebrate it in a dish. Absolutely.
It's one dish.
It's one dish.
Yeah, and
It's we like to call it the life cycle of the fennel. So we'll take it in every stage of growth. We use the root, we use the bulb, the stalk, the flower, the blossom. I mean, everything.
Is that
about it.
unique to the fennel, or could you do that with the cucumber?
Absolutely.
No,
We use every part of it. We use the blossom. We can certainly use the leaves. We could find something to do with the stem. We obviously use the fruit. So yeah.
What about the sticker?
We could probably find a way, but we'd have to make it palatable for sure.
Well, one of the things that your menu and the way the menu is laid out, and you can't see this obviously, but is that you'll list all the ingredients in a dish, but then you'll put one in all caps, and that is the herb or
Correct.
the flower. Why
Correct.
do you do that? I mean, all the ingredients seem to matter, but why is that the one you pull out?
What he's talking about is, the main ingredient is the caption on the top. It's the main ingredient of the dish. So, for instance, hamachi, beautiful yellowtail fish from Japan. What we'll do is underline, we'll name 3 supporting elements. One could be black cardamom, the other one could be purslane.
Lardo.
And lardo.
Yuzu.
Exactly.
What is lardo? It is
Lardo is a
lard?
cured pig fat.
Oh, yeah. It just sounds better to
It's
say
awesome.
lardo.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
And then in capital, it's...
And capital is purslane. So we capitalize those because we feel like that, to my cuisine, is very important that we celebrate the herbs. We celebrate them in the flavor nuances that they give. We also use them in a way that the characteristics, the salinity of something. If we want to add some salt to a dish, we don't necessarily need to reach for the salt. We can grab an herb that has that salinity profile to it and add that to the dish. So as you're eating it, you get that salt from a different source.
Why would that be better than salt?
It's unique. I don't know if it's better. It's just unique.
Yeah.
It gives the dish a different character.
We talked about this when I talked briefly at the restaurant, to you at the restaurant. But and I once did a story about a guy who was a survivalist in Chicago,
Yes.
and he would go around the city and pick berries and pick herbs and everything like that. And you said, yeah, I could do that. Is that
Absolutely.
true that you could go around this city, you could go out to the Department of Fleet Management and find and find a meal for yourself.
I don't know if I'd be searching there, but yes, you certainly could. You probably have stuff in your front that you don't even know about that's probably on the menu. Not that I've picked it, but it's certainly there. Purslane, it's a weed. It grows all over the city. Oxalis is the same thing. It grows all over the city. You guys walk on it every day. You don't know what it is. But as a chef, you're aware of it. You
Yeah.
see it. You walk around, you go, oh, there's that, there's that.
When you're thinking, can you not only be aware of those things, but can you picture in your mind before you make something, before you put two ingredients together, what it might taste like?
Yes,
Really?
we can, because we reach what we call, as a chef, we call it it's a mind's palate.
The mind's
The mind's palate, because, you know, as you grow up, all you do is eat, right?
Yeah.
So those memories stick with you, and those flavor profiles, and the things that you like, the things you dislike, the things you enjoy to eat, and those things stick with you. So as you're creating a dish, it's very easy to refer back to those memories and know what they taste like without having to taste it. You know what strawberries taste like?
You know, I don't like strawberries.
Blueberries?
I don't like fruit, really.
You don't like food. But you know what they taste like.
Yeah, I do bad. No, I do, but if you said to me, I'm going to give you 5 ingredients, choose 3 and put them together, I don't know that I would know which ones would go together. I mean, yes, I know what a banana tastes like, but I don't know what rosemary mixed with thyme would necessarily taste like. But
Sure.
you do.
Yeah, I mean, you get an idea, sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So tell me about, you said growing up all you do is eat. Tell me about your growing up. Were you from a family, you're from Ohio.
From Ohio.
Were you from a family that ate well, that ate differently than the rest of America eating their frozen?
No, not at all. I think I was very middle class growing up. I ate maybe 2 meals a night or 2 meals a week
Yeah.
with my family. You know, the rest of the time it was just kind of picking here and there. You know, it wasn't really sat down and had full meals.
So when did you know, because I mean, I'm not sure, but where you lived in Ohio, at that time in this country, it wasn't like there were great restaurants everywhere.
Right,
At
not at
what
all.
point did you know, hey, I want to be not only do I want to be a chef, but it is a possible career choice for me?
Well, I think I've always enjoyed cooking, even helping my mom a little bit in the kitchen, although she didn't spend a lot of time in the kitchen. But when I reached probably 6th, 7th grade, I went into a home ec class, and I was very excited because at the time you're in the middle of school, and all of a sudden you get to bake cookies.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
You know, so, and the teacher would see me light up and get very excited about cooking, and we could just boil pasta and just make tomato sauce, and I was very excited and happy about that. So she suggested maybe you ever thought about being a chef or going into that field of hospitality, and I'm like, I'm 13, no way. Kidding me? Women, at that time, women were the ones that were known to cook.
Yeah.
Not gentlemen or boys.
Sure.
13.
So what changed?
So she pushed me, and it's something I pursued and really thought about it and never looked back since.
Now I hear your dad is a tattoo artist.
Yes. he
And
was.
not the kind of guy who's making like the Tasmanian devil, but like a real artist.
Yes. Yes.
How does what? I mean, he would make the Tasmanian devil.
Sure,
if
he could draw
if
him. Absolutely.
Yeah. If the price were right. But for most people, for me, the tattoo was symbolic of not evil, but of just something like that. That's bad. And then you grow up and you're like, no, tattoos aren't bad.
Right.
But how does it change you growing up as a child to not have that at all because your dad is doing that?
I think what I've taken from it was the artistic side of it. Seeing him freehand sketch and take a piece of white canvas and turn it into something that's beautiful. I could certainly apply that to a simple white plate.
Yeah.
And food and things like that, and learn to use my hands that way. So
Do you have tattoos?
I have 3 of them, yeah,
Really? By your dad?
by my dad, yeah.
Really? Does he eat your meals?
He used to, when I used to cook for him, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely.
What are your tattoos of?
Again, just tribal work that he's freehand and allowed me to put on my body. Because my mom kicked my ass.
Really?
She wouldn't allow me to do it, yeah.
Well, how old were you?
Well, I was the first.
You were in the home ec
17.
class
I was
at the
17. I was 17 at the time. So.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you decide you definitely want to be a chef.
Yes.
In your 20s, you work at a series of restaurants in Chicago, the best restaurants. I mean, you're at Trotter's, and then, I don't know if it was in your 20s or 30s, but you worked for...
Yeah, mid-20s.
Yeah. So was your life... Did you stop to breathe during your 20s?
You know, at the time when I realized that I had potential to becoming a great chef, I immediately put my blinders on and 100% focused went towards what I wanted to do and what I believed in, and didn't let anything deviate me from my path, because it was very important to go where I wanted to go and get what I wanted to get. So I had to put my blinders on and really focus on solely food and finding the path to get me to where I wanted to be. And that path being working for the best chefs in the country. And that's what
I
it was
should have
really
taken
about.
that approach in my 20s. Seriously, what did that mean in terms of, did it mean you didn't go out to bars? Did it mean you didn't socialize? Did it mean you academically studied food? What did it mean to just have your blinders on?
A little bit of everything what you just mentioned. Certainly was 100% focused in the food. Embraced the cookbooks and the TV shows and things like that, and just surrounded yourself with the people that had the best intentions in your vision and what you wanted to obtain at the time. And it was just, of course I went out and partied and did my thing, but at the end of the day, it was like, I'm still focused on what I want to do, and I know where I want to be.
Tell me about working, we had Charlie Trotter on the show, and I have to say, he might have been my favorite guest of all time. But he also has a reputation for being ornery and being maybe hard to work for and demanding, and it seems like you have to have your blinders on when you're working for him. You came away from the experience feeling it was the greatest thing a young chef could possibly ask for.
Yeah, absolutely. It was probably the most demanding 3 years of my life, for sure.
What does that, why? Seriously, like, was it the hours? Was it that if you didn't get something absolutely right, you had to do it again and you had to do it fast?
No, I think it's just the ultimate pursuit of excellence that he portrays in the restaurant, and that you try to, he sets a standard this high, and you're always trying to reach above it because you want to set your standards higher than him, because the only way you're going to get better than him is setting your standards higher than him, or the person you're trying to emulate, I guess. So yeah, it's very demanding. The hours, 18, 19 hours a day, 6 days a week.
Wow.
It's tedious.
How do you maintain, seriously, your physical energy when you're doing something like that? And you're on your feet, too.
Lack of sleep. 4 hours a night for me is perfect.
So when you heard me complaining, you were like, stop it.
At the time, I was already doing it for 10 plus years.
Yeah.
So now I've been cooking for 20 years. It doesn't feel 14 hours goes by and it's nothing.
Yeah.
That's
So
the
now,
way it is.
So then you get the opportunity to be the chef de cuisine at, why are you called that? Why can't it just be chef? Why do they?
Chef, it's a fancy French word, the French. They gotta fancify everything.
So you get the gig at Avenues.
Yeah.
And you take over this is a few years ago. You take over from Graham Elliott.
Correct.
When you're working at a hotel and a restaurant that is not your own, are you allowed? Do they say you can't make that, or you can make that, or are you allowed to just do what you want?
The great thing about the Peninsula and Avenues is they let me have that restaurant as it's my own. I run it like it's my own. I run the food costs like it's my own, the labor cost. The entire menu is mine. The whole vision of the restaurant is mine. And that's the great thing that they give you. They want you to be successful. They want you to give as much as you can possibly get. The only way you can really do that is running it like it's your own. So it's been a great experience for me.
Was it hard to figure out what running a restaurant on your own meant?
No, not at all. It became very easy for me because it's not like a light switch. You don't just turn it on and off where you're a chef one day or a chef mentality, I guess. You either have it or you don't.
Yeah.
And for me, I had it. Luckily enough, I was young enough to realize that that's what I wanted to do, and was fortunate enough to find out that young that's what I wanted to do. So you think like it.
The other thing about being a chef or being a really, I don't know whether you want to call it a chef at the highest level, or you want to call it a celebrity chef, whatever you want to call it, it seems like the best chefs have an uncanny ability to be both obviously great cooks, but also great businessmen and great, to some degree, showmen.
Sure.
Are there times when you think to yourself, no, all I want to do is make food. Why do I have to deal with that other stuff? Why do I have to be here?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I think about that all the time because, you know, my restaurant's open right now and I'm thinking, what's going on there right now?
Chaos.
I'm like, shit. You know, who's in the restaurant?
Yeah.
What's going to happen?
This fennel is terrible.
So yeah, as a chef, you know, in the 90s and in 2000, it's become so much media driven and social media and things like that that you have to be more than just a chef. You have to be the businessman. You have to be the social guy. You have to. It's no longer about cooking anymore. And I always tell that to the young cooks and the young chefs that are always like, Chef, I want to be your sous chef. I want to work under you. I want to move up the ladder very quickly. But I always tell them, look, you have to form a base, a foundation to build off of. Don't rush because you have all the time in the world. The moment you start stepping into those positions where you're managing people and stepping outside the kitchen, you're not cooking as much as you want to. And you want those days where you're like, all I want to do is cook.
This is my time to develop.
Yeah, this is my time.
cooking
Grow.
skill.
Understand how to work with everything. Touch the vegetables, touch the fruit. Just have your hands on everything. Learn how to cook. Because
You wash your hands
of
before.
course, of course, of course.
The meal was very good. A little earthy, but...
It's the terroir.
So you have... not only do you have this group of chefs that work with you, not only do you work these long hours, but you have a family as well. When you go home and you eat at home, are your kids eating a tasting menu? Like,
Well, you know-
here's the chicken nuggets
yes.
course.
Actually,
Here's
yes.
Really?
Yeah, because I'll cook something for them, and then it's like, they don't want it. So now it's on to the next course.
So they're
No,
just
it's not.
like really rich diners.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't eat anything. That's the problem. It's like 5 things in their repertoire of what they eat.
Does that drive you crazy?
No, not at all.
No?
I mean, my daughter can tell you every vegetable in the supermarket, but she won't eat it. She can tell you. She'll say, "Oh, you know what? I think I'll try it tomorrow." But
Last question, the Michelin Awards.
Yes.
You were one of, so there were 2 restaurants that got the 3 stars.
Correct.
And then there were 3, including Avenues, that got the 2. Was it a big deal?
it was huge. Big deal is to say the least. It was huge. I mean, as a chef, growing up, you know, it's only recently that Michelin has come to the U.S. It's a European-based company. The highest you can get is 3 stars. There's less than 100 restaurants in the world that has 3 stars. They recently came to Chicago this past November. They released the awards, but they've been in the city for 2 years shopping all the restaurants, eating and obviously, and going around and tasting the food and things like that. And just to obtain 1 star is a chef's lifelong dream. I thought about it when I was growing up, like looking at all these European chefs, you're like, man, 1 Michelin star is pretty awesome. But to get 3 or 2, I mean, to get 2 right out of the gate is pretty incredible.
Well, the
Pretty
food was
incredible.
great. And thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Curtis Duffy, everyone.
Thank you.